So the puja is after the meditation, where you can still. So the puja is after the meditation. It's a dedication list that we put names on that we dedicate for people who need positive energy. And I'm really surprised that out of 80 people, there is only 2.5 pages.
Can we add?
God, that's what I'm saying. So please, after the teaching, please add after the teaching. Okay. I can see that there's not so many Buddhists maybe on the course, because when it's Buddhist on the course, it's like for 80 people we would have 10 pages at least. Because it's a nice thing to do, you know, everything you do, you kind of give away the positive energy and you dedicate it to somebody that you care about and that you cannot do anything. So this is why also this meditation we're going to do now, because very often we feel so hopeless and so helpless because we can't really help others. So that's why then we do something like this, so we don't feel so hopeless. And the problem is not that we can't help, the problem is that we lock up because we can't help. We feel guilty because we think we're God or the Buddha or somebody. We're not. Yeah? And then we don't even want to, and then the relationship becomes kind of a bit sour also sometimes with these people. I have a few questions here that I will briefly answer. So he said that we shouldn't wish for others to be unhappy. What do you think about punishment? Such punishment that we don't really believe would make the punished happy after. Well, then don't. Just for the sake of a lesson for others so they won't do the same, maybe to make others happy. Punishment is okay, you might be surprised. But it should be a punishment that makes people understand that now it's, again, even. So if you are the one giving the punishment, you are the one who has to let go. You cannot give a punishment and then still want something. So with your children, it's okay to punish them, but don't take something away from them, but make them do something that they have to do anyway, but they dislike doing. Because you get double good effect. It's done, they're happy, you're happy. And then you say, okay, now, whatever you've done, finished. Like you rub it out, it's gone. But usually we don't. We want them to be punished, but then, I give you a good example. We have somebody who comes to the meditation group who's been in prison for 26 years. What comes up in your mind?
Murder.
Huh?
Murder.
What has he done? It's 26 years ago. Yeah? I think he was punished enough. So I told everybody, you are not allowed to ask him what he did. If he says from himself, then that's okay. He wanted everybody to know that he's still in prison. He comes for meditation. He wanted everybody to know that he's in prison, and sometimes he tells a story about the prison, but he never says what he's done. So that's it. It's his thing. It's finished. It's 26 years ago. But I can feel the mind holding on to it, wanting to know what did he do. Yeah. So I need to work with that. And not to see the person from 26 years ago, but the personality is very kind, he's very nice, he's very funny, and we all love him. Yeah. So that's what I mean. Punishment is okay if the person who is punished understands that it's a good thing, he has to pay the debt, and the one who is giving the punishment is afterwards also able to totally let go, as if the thing would not have happened. As I said, there's a bill, and then you just tear it up, and that's not enough. On top of it, you burn it. I don't have matches, otherwise I would do it. Because then it can never be produced again. This has to go from both sides with the punishment. But people have been in prison for a long, long time. They have very difficult lives afterwards when they come out. Yeah? Because everybody still sees the criminal. And they're not allowed to behave in a strange way or whatever. You know, they have to be picobello, always nice, always kind. Isn't it? So that's what I think about punishment. Punishment okay if the person who is being punished understands and accepts it and says, yeah, I'm doing this to make up for what I did. I just read in the newspapers this morning, we have somebody who is a somebody who has prostitutes and nightclubs, and he was drunk one day and he drove at 5:30 in the morning into a group of 4 people. So first it was, terrorist attack, blah, 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 this and that and all that, and he went to prison for 7 years. And he wrote this book which just came out, and he says, I deserve this punishment. But I also want for people to understand how bad I feel about this. Because that scene, he was looking for his mobile. He was also drunk, but he was looking for his mobile. And he drove into this group of people. And he says, I want you to feel how bad I feel. I see that scene every morning when I wake up. Can you imagine how you would feel out of accident? You don't want it, but because of inattentiveness. You drive into a group of 4 people, 1 dies, the 3 are injured. The rest of your life, how that would be? On top of it, because he is some kind of half criminal, so then of course he was put into prison. So I think it's nice that he wrote that book. For people to understand, if somebody does that, they feel bad enough. We don't need to punish them actually anymore. But there is punishment that can be beneficial if you allow the person to make up for it. So he says, I deserve to be in prison. Because I was drunk. But I did not plan it. Okay, you talked about thieves coming to steal and at a very high level of not protecting yourself but giving them what they want. Could you talk more about that, also regarding physical attacks or threats? No. Because that also only goes with the Bodhisattva teachings. That's the higher level teachings. When you have already become totally non-nutniki and you have no self-concern in a healthy way, then you can start just thinking about those things. Before, no. Before you have to look after yourself and you have to protect yourself as best as you can. You see this whole thing, giving everything away and if it makes you feel good, then by all means do it. If it makes you feel bad, then don't do it. What's the point? Then you get angry at the other person. Then you need to protect yourself. And also why very often the Tibetan Lamas, why they lock their door, is so that nobody creates the negative karma of stealing their things. Now, this can be a total excuse, but it can also be genuine. And whether it's an excuse or genuine, only the person who has that motive, only the person who turns the key knows. You have no idea. We have no idea. Yeah. Okay? Is that? Yeah. So that is very, very high practice. So you're not going there yet. Unless you have had teachings on bodhicitta and you understand what it is and you want to develop it, then yes. Otherwise not. Let go. But what about the memory? No need to let go if you forgive. As I said, it become a source of bliss for you. Bliss, you understand the word bliss? Happiness, bliss, well-being. When you are able to wish somebody really well that you hated before. This young boy that I said, he said, I don't want to forget what happened. Because every time I'm able to send love to my father, I feel so good and so free. No need to forgive. You shouldn't forgive. But you shouldn't forgive. You should forgive in a way like, this should never happen to me again. Not like this. May I never do that to somebody else. That's the memory you should keep. That's what memories are for. That we learn not to do it to others. Because it hurts. Okay? What would you do if you were finding yourself in a brand new relationship? There's no danger for me to be in a brand new relationship. So that's not a question for me. This is for a therapist. I'm not an expert on relationships. Like, you have a partner who's not satisfied most of the time, and give a bad feeling. What would I do? I would go. Or try to work with it. I don't know what I would do. Again, this is how can I answer this? You know. So also the Dalai Lama, when he's been asked about relationships, he says, ask an expert. I'm not an expert in relationship. He went to the monastery when he was 4 years old. He's never been in a relationship, so how should he know? Okay, great. So I'm sorry I can't answer that question, I don't know. You have to figure it out, whether you want to stay with that grumpy person and try to make him happy. This can, you know, if you're very strong, as I said, in a relationship, if one is flexible is enough. So if you decide to be that flexible one, and you want to make him happy, and you have no hope of result, then you can stay. If not, I would say go, especially if it's new, you know, then, yeah. You see, there are some people who are constantly unhappy because they have an unhappy mind, so they change. If they have enough money, they change house, they change country, they change partners, they change jobs, they change car, but they're taking their unhappy mind with them, so it doesn't help if you change anything. But if you really think you are the one who can make that person relaxed and happy, it would be a mitzvah to stay. If you are getting upset also and you're fighting all the time, you're just creating a lot of negative karma, both of you. So it depends, like everything else. Okay, so let's do that final meditation. And again, you just become aware of your body sitting here. Maybe a happy feeling about that this is finally finished. And you can go home again soon, or a happy feeling that soon you can eat and drink. And really being happy that you had the courage to come here and to do that. That's the kind of happiness we're trying to produce. Because otherwise we create the habit that we can only be finished and we can only be happy when something is finished. So to be happy is okay, but try to make the happiness into, I'm so happy I did this. Even if there was no result, we don't know, you know. Sometimes the subtle mind understands something and then things start to transform. We don't know. We don't need to be result-oriented, we only have to do it. The result is not important. So you try to sit with a straight back, best as you can, but in a relaxed way. And then in the discussion, we maybe notice that there is a lot of frustration and stress around. It's very easy to find. It's very easy to find that the Buddha is right when he says there is unsatisfactoriness, there is stress, there is lament, there is despair, there is physical and mental pain. So this we cannot make go away, because we have created the causes. But our reaction to it can be different when we accept and when we have courage to accept it. And very often we are not in contact with the space where we would find that courage, which is our open, spacious heart. So you can invite to this room some kind of energy that you think is representing love and compassion and wisdom. An awakened awareness. And spend some time until you feel it. Like this energy is always there. If there is a God, if there is a Buddha, they're always present. How can they ever be absent? At this time, invite it to come here, to the crown of your head. And try to feel it. this benevolence, this energy that wants you to be happy, free from suffering, calm, open. And then if you feel comfortable with this, then allow it to come into your heart, in the middle of your chest, in the form of light. It can be the Buddha, it can be God, it can be Jesus. In essence, I think it's all the same. It's love, compassion and wisdom, and having the skills and the ability to do something. So then when you have this light in your heart, allow it to wake up or to mix with our own basic goodness that we have, which are our resources when things get tough and difficult. That space where there is space, where everything is okay, but it's not spaced out, but where we know what to do, either to just let it be as it is or to interfere. Our own innate resources of well-being, goodness, space and wisdom. Getting in contact with these resources that we have is what is called self-caring kind of thing, and it's healthy. It's not self-centeredness. If we wouldn't be so scared, we would be aware that we have so much love to give to everybody. You can always be kind, you can always be loving. It's just that it seems that we are scared to do that. So then, with one part of the mind, try to stay in this resourceful space of light in your heart. And with the other part of your mind, now think about all the difficulties that you're facing, like everybody else. But now think about your own. All the insecurity about, am I going to be accepted? Am I going to be loved? Will I succeed? Oh, will I have the kind of life that I want? All the confusion about how to get it. And the aversion, the anger when we don't get it. And the desire and the attachment when we have it. So kind of one tries to breathe with the heart. Try to see that your in and out breath goes through that space of the Buddha or God or whatever. I mean, if you're very materialistic, of course you can't breathe with your heart, I know that. But try to understand what I'm saying. Your breath goes through that space, is touched by that space. You connect with that space. And so during the meditation, like 90% of it, you are in that resourceful, very courageous, loving, wise space. 10% you're thinking about your problems. as you breathe in, you think, I am taking these problems voluntarily upon myself, and I give it to that space in my heart where it just dissolves, because there's so much space. The power of that light, the power of love, power of wisdom, just diffuses it. And you go back to that resourceful space as you breathe out. When you breathe in a very courageous way, you think whatever is lying ahead of me, and there will be difficulties, let them come. With the in-breath, I'm giving them to that very resourceful space in my heart. That is kindness, love, and wisdom, or the Buddha, or God. Whatever is meaningful for you. So how we do this with what is called the four immeasurables? As you breathe in, you think, may I be free from attachment and anger. So it goes like this. We all know we have attachment and we have aversion. We all have it. So we don't need to be afraid additional kind of, future attachment and anger or aversion. So you think, so that my future self can be free of all these negative emotions. I'm taking them upon myself right now, or problems, difficulties, whatever. And you breathe them in, you take them, let them come. They will come anyway. I'm open and ready to receive them. Maybe they don't have so much power. And you give it into that space of light. It briefly touches it, and then like a soap bubble, it disappears. As you breathe in, if you want, you can give these difficulties the form of black smoke, if it's meaningful for you. Otherwise, just think, it's all the heaviness, all the difficulties in your life. As you breathe out those resources and give it to your future self by just thinking, may I be happy, peaceful, and loving. And you keep doing that. Breathing in, very short. You're not holding that black smoke. It immediately bursts when it touches the light. And then from this infinite resources, we think we're giving out everything good that we have already now to our future self. As you breathe in, may I have equanimity, meaning may I be free from aversion towards the people I dislike and attachment to the ones I like. As you breathe out, you give your future self everything that you think your future self will want to have, so that it can be happy, peaceful, and loving. You can give that light forms, or just all the qualities that you would like to have. And you just keep doing that. Breathing in the heaviness, it transforms into love and compassion, and breathing it out. And giving it to your future self, meaning giving yourself the permission to be happy. Stop punishing yourself by being unhappy. There's no point. Nobody benefits from it. May it be happy, peaceful and loving. And then the next one, we start thinking about our daily suffering that we have. You know, again, the difficulties that we face. Not having the right neighbors, not being in the right country, not having the right job, not having the right partner, not having the right car, not having the right public transport, whatever. You have to face that every day. Physical suffering, mental suffering. So again, we think we take it as you breathe in. I'm open to whatever comes. Just that thought. Let it come. It very briefly touches this light in your heart and it just dissolves. Its blackness and its heaviness. And as you breathe out, you wish yourself the joy and happiness of liberation and awakening. So you actively give yourself all the qualities that you would like to have of love, compassion, and perfect wisdom. And the skills to know what to do and when to do it as you breathe out. So then you can do that specifically for one person, or you can do it for many people. Don't make it too personal again, because again, otherwise it becomes heavy. So we can just try it out with the thought of the four immeasurables. As you breathe in, may everybody be free from attachment and anger that hold some close and others distant. You have the wish, the will to take it from others because you have it anyway. But may they be free from it. As you breathe out, you give them support, relief, assistance, and caring. May they be happy and have the causes for happiness. You breathe in their difficulties, you breathe out your support, your assistance, and your caring. And again, we become aware of there's not just attachment and aversion, those are the causes for the suffering, but there's the results, there's the consequences of that. A lot of frustration, a lot of stress. So again, I have it, let others be free from it, so I take it. You breathe it in again if you can, if it's not too scary, in the form of black light or black smoke. Bring it down to your heart, where this infinite, resourceful kind of light is, and the light just dissolves it, and you breathe out some of that light to give people relief, assistance, caring.